and welcome back to another exciting encounter in Jesus, meeting Jesus afresh over a cuppa, inviting you to put aside what you know or what you think you know about Jesus so that we can take a completely fresh look at him through the Gospel of John. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and also to click the bell so that you'll never miss a new Encounter in Jesus video. And if you're new here, well, you can click the link in the description below, down there somewhere, to watch this Encounter in Jesus series from the start. And if you're not new here, well, welcome back and thanks for joining me. So, in the last session, we looked at Jesus' mission and what he was all about. And again, don't worry, there's a link in the description below if you missed that one. But after looking at that, we need to now crack on with the story for today. The next part of the story, where we look at the first of Jesus' miracles of changing water into wine, revealing Jesus as an abundant giver. So if you've got your cuppa, put that down for a second, because you need to open your Bibles to John's Gospel chapter 2. Or if you prefer, you can simply read along with me as the words come up on the screen, and let's continue our journey of encountering Jesus through John's Gospel. And we're going to read from chapter 2, verses 1 to 12. The next day there was a wedding celebration in the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the celebration. The wine supply ran out during the festivities, so Jesus' mother told him, "They have no more wine." "Dear woman, that's not our problem," Jesus replied. "My time has not yet come." But his mother told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Standing nearby were 6 stone water jars used for Jewish ceremonial washing. Each could hold 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus told the servants, "Fill the jars with water." When the jars had been filled, he said, "Now dip some out and take it to the master of ceremonies." So the servants followed his instructions. When the master of ceremonies tasted the water that was now wine, not knowing where it had come from, though of course the servants knew, he called the bridegroom over. "A host always serves the best wine first," he said. "Then, when everyone has had a lot to drink, he brings out the less expensive wine, but you have kept the best until now." This miraculous sign at Cana in Galilee was the first time Jesus revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After the wedding, he went to Capernaum for a few days with his mother, his brothers, and his disciples. Weddings have always been a time of great celebration with lots to eat and drink. And in Jesus' time, weddings were big affairs with celebrations going on all week, where everyone in the village was invited and everyone would be expected to bring something along to the celebration. And at this particular wedding, everyone's having a great time. Then suddenly, disaster strikes. They run out of wine. Mary, Jesus' mother, knows that her son can somehow fix this problem, even though Jesus had not performed any miracles up to this point. Maybe he and his disciples can go to the shops. Maybe they can just go and get some more bottles. But Jesus tells the servants to fill 6 large stone water jars, normally used for washing, with water, and take it to the wedding reception. And when this water is poured out, it's miraculously turned into vintage wine. The master of ceremonies is well impressed with the bridegroom, saying that most people serve good wine first, bringing up the cheap and nasty stuff only after everyone is too drunk to notice. And this was Jesus' first miracle, and he goes well beyond all expectations. You know, each of these stone jars was filled with water that held 30 gallons. That's 200 bottles of wine per jar. So 6 jars is 1,200 bottles of wine. There's no way that the guests could have filled all this extra wine. So they most probably took more than a few bottles home with them, which in turn they could have shared with their guests. And this miracle wine is it's not cheap plonk. It's the finest wine imaginable. You know, Jesus wants his wedding guests to have the very, very best that he could give. You know, Jesus isn't begrudging or stingy. He doesn't just bring a bottle to the celebration. He goes beyond all expectation. 1,200 bottles of the best wine ever. And you know, contrary to what many believe, Jesus is not against people celebrating and having a good time. Far from it. Jesus loves to celebrate, just like this miracle of turning 180 gallons of water into the best wine ever. Jesus wants to transform our lives so that we may live our best lives ever, living abundantly in all he has to give. And Jesus came so that we may have life in all its fullness. So as always, some points for you to reflect on. What do you know about Jesus that you never knew before? How has this changed his opinion of you, of him, and how? And what are the questions, if any, has this raised? And as always, if you're a person who likes to read and reflect and write things down, you can always get a copy of this Encountered in Jesus book, which has bits of space here for you to write down your thoughts and questions. It's only available from our website, www.tomsacat.com, and there's a video link. There's a link in the video description below. Well, for this week, that's all for this session. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed not only your cuppa, I haven't even sipped mine yet, hang on, but also a little bit more of what it is to truly encounter Jesus. Do join me again in the next session where we will continue our journey through John's Gospel, looking at Jesus, the abundant giver, in our Encountered in Jesus series. And if you are enjoying this journey, please would you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next session. So until then, God bless.